I wish I could remember who gave me this very special gift, because I would like to share with them how much I appreciate it on a daily basis. A daily basis. Somebody in giving me this gift were able to merge both my love of flowers and my love of poetry. There's days where this reflection is something that I can spend hours thinking about. The one on September 6th says, "We are the roadside flowers, straying from garden grounds, lover of idle hours, breakers of ordered bounds. On us he has laid the duty, the task of the wandering breed, to better the world with beauty, wherever the way may lead." That be me, a roadside flower. That's the first thing I thought is, I know that people ask me, well, what flavor of Catholic are you? And I always like to answer, well, I'm a free-range Catholic. And sometimes that can be taken wrong. So now I'm just going to answer, well, I'm a roadside flower. Because I just kind of broke free a little bit from those garden boundaries that I had spent a lot of time in. And I've kind of meandered out of that controlled, formal garden to a storefront garden. A roadside flower. And what am I doing as a roadside flower? To better the world with beauty wherever the way may lead. To better the world wherever the way may lead. To be able now to minister to people I would not have been able to minister to before. To create an environment where all are welcome. All are welcome. All are welcome like roadside flowers. And if you understand that concept of roadside flowers, you're going to understand the Gospel of Luke, chapter 16, verse 8, where he said, the master commended the dishonest steward for acting prudently. For the children of this world are more prudent in dealing with their own generation than are the children of light. I love how during this series of Ordinary Time, we have been confronted with some very challenging gospels of Jesus Christ. He has said some things that kind of shake things up a little bit and kind of don't always make sense. Like, why would he commend a dishonest steward? Why would he commend a dishonest steward? Well, the answer's right there. For the children of this world are more prudent in dealing with their own generation than are the children of light. I recognized that when I was in the seminary, when I was at Gonzaga University. I will be honest with you, I didn't hang out with the other seminarians in the seminary. I just could not stomach them. But the reality is, I don't think they could stomach me either. See, the reality is they were just these super holier than thou holy rollers. And I was not. So I just hung out with the normal students at Gonzaga University. And what I was challenged with was I would watch these holy roller seminarians only hanging with themselves and walking around with this superior attitude. And I'm thinking to themselves, how are they going to bring the gospel of Jesus Christ to these students if they continue to walk around with this attitude? Now, my friends at the university, they all knew I was studying to become a priest. So they brought up the topic of religion all the time. We had good, great discussions on religion. So who was bringing the gospel of Jesus Christ to the students? The children of light? Or maybe this roadside flower? The reality is, sometimes the best people to bring the gospel of Jesus Christ to this world are the people of this world. Not necessarily the holy rollers, because the reality is I spend most of my life walking around with the Roman collar on. I will be honest with you. As soon as I walk down the cereal aisle in the grocery store, they kind of all scatter and like jump through the between the cereal boxes. It's like, oh no, there comes Mr. Guilt Complex. You know, I probably should be going to church more often. I probably should. You know, it's just like they run from me. But they can relate to you. They can relate to you. I can relate to what Jesus was trying to teach us. We need real people to bring the real gospel into the real world. People that can be related to, because who does God want to be saved? Just the churchy holy rollers? Didn't we hear in the second reading from the first letter of Timothy, chapter 2, verse 1 and 3 and 4, I ask that supplication, prayers, petitions, and thanksgivings be offered for everyone. This is good and pleasing to God our Savior, who wills everyone to be saved and to come to the knowledge of the truth. Who does God want to be saved? Everyone. Everyone. That includes the people of this world. That doesn't just include the holy rollers. Everyone. You want a good example? Let's look at who wrote the first letter of Timothy, St. Paul. You want to talk about a roadside flower. God chose him not to just preach the faith when in the confines of the temple of Jerusalem. He sent him to all the world to bring forth the message of Jesus Christ. He chose St. Paul not because of his holiness, not because he was treating Christians very well, but he chose St. Paul because he saw in him gifts that he knew the people of this world could relate to. And so the message today is very clear. We are all roadside flowers. We are all called to bring beauty into this world as we are. Each and every one of you, where you are at right at this moment. You were made for this moment. Even with our weaknesses, everyone has an opportunity to participate in God's divine plan. Everyone. I love our opening hymn, Come to the Altar. Leave behind your regrets and mistakes. Jesus is calling. Jesus is calling even because of our regrets, even because of our mistakes, even because of our weaknesses, because we recognize that in our weaknesses, that's when we can turn to God to be made strong. Because if we think we can do it all on our own, we have such limitations. But doing it with God, recognizing, okay, Lord, I'm certainly going to need your help if I'm going to bring the gospel into this world, we can turn our weakness into our strength because of our relationship with God. Even our mistakes and missteps in some ways have prepared us for the moment in which God invites us to join in him in his work. Even our mistakes and missteps. The best example in my life is my own father. He went finally. Once he hit rock bottom with the divorce with my mother, he went and finally turned his life around. Got involved in the 12-step program and overcame that alcoholism that had wrecked a marriage, that had wrecked a family, that had wrecked a career, that had wrecked so many lives. His mistake became a moment when my brother was an addict. My mom, through Al-Anon, learned we need to set some boundaries here. She worked with my brother and said, these are acceptable boundaries if you're going to live in our house. Live by these boundaries, live in the house. Well, that day came where my brother wasn't living by the boundaries. And my mother had to go to him and say, since you're not living by these boundaries, you have decided you no longer want to live in this house. She didn't have to make the decision. He decided he no longer wanted to live in the house. So he had to move out. The smartest thing he did may have been at the time he felt was the stupidest thing he did, but where did he go? He moved in with my father. There's nothing like an addict moving in with a recovering addict. Because my brother could get away with nothing. My dad knew all the tricks. My dad knew all the secrets. My dad knew all the lies. Because of my father's experience and mistakes and missteps, he knew how to help my brother out of his mistakes and missteps. My brother began the journey of recovery, turned his life around. Each and every one of us, because of our mistakes and our missteps, hopefully we've learned something from our mistakes and missteps that we can pass on and help others with. Because see, God can even use you and me because we are you and me and because of what we have been through in our lives. You and me. God has made each and every one of us for this moment because of your life. It equips you to relate to people in a way that maybe nobody else could do. God needs all of us. God needs you at this moment to be that roadside flower, to bring that beauty into this world that so much needs the beauty, not just in the church, but out there in the world. Please celebrate and recognize your beauty and what your gift is. Be a roadside flower and bring that beauty into the world.